The redeeming power of Jesus can change any offender, thus making him or her into a new creature. Welcome to part 2 of our prison ministry stories.
The young man that comes out and continues to stay with the church. There are a number of those guys. The admission of one inmate that it was the introduction of Christ to him and his desire to know his word that actually got him to open a Bible, though he was illiterate. And through wanting to know the word of God, he learned to read because of his wanting to know the word of God. Those things buoy us up. Those things make it all worthwhile.
Prison Ministries is alive and well in the Central Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. And for many years, Brother Paul East have been ministering along with his team to these inmates. Here are their stories.
I was sent to prison. Yes, I tried to explain what the judge said to me. Sir, we have nothing to say to you. We're going to use you as an example, which was surprising to me because I did have a lawyer and the lawyer wasn't performing. Yes, and then the judge said, I'm going to use you. Even the officer who was my arresting officer said, man, you're going to go home. When you're drinking a champagne, remember me. But only to my knowledge that the Lord have a different plan for my life. So I was placed in prison. My time was supposed to be 10 years in prison. We applied for parole. The probation officer told me that, sir, Mr. Bailey, you will not be sent home. Why? Because you are a good example inside here and they need you to help to counsel the other inmates. They need you in here to teach them about Christ. And I was moved from the maximum correctional center to one of the low correctional centers. It was a Cameron Farm prison. While I was there, I started asking the officer in charge that if we can keep church and Sabbath. And they said, yes. Mr. East did came and we have Sabbath school every single Sabbath. We have church service. We have at least an hour word of church service, and it did bear fruit. I myself did wrote a letter to the commissioner to ask that other inmates from other institutions who would like to be baptized can come to the maximum prison and be baptized. And to my surprise, the letter was answered yes. And I said, thanks be to God.
The water is troubled, my friend. Step right in. God Almighty power.
I can remember when I started prison ministry, it was quite a number of years ago when I met Claude. When I started to go first as a worshiper on Sabbaths, and then I was selected to do the Bible class on Tuesdays. And then Claude became a part of the Bible class and he was there. And we had a relationship and we started to get to know each other based on the word of God. And eventually he became like a son to me. And then he was exonerated, he got probation and he came out. And he came to Clarendon to live. And I started to just relate to him, to keep him focused and to talk to him. He developed a desire for carpentry. And so whenever I have any work at home, I would give it to him. And then when he became an elder for the Canaanite church, that was a joy for me. Because to see him coming from that place, some people just get depressed and go back into a place that you can't even reach them. But he came out there and he came out with the desire to continue to serve the Lord. And then he started to worship and then he became an elder. And then I got the joy knowing that at least one soul from prison will not be going back.
When I went to Ellen Mama Church, I'm in up a prison for a murder, a crime. I grew up in a 7-day church as a youth. So I make a decision and baptize in my mama church and them come and check me. But being in a prison, and remember so when you're in a Sunday church, they don't tell you about the law and something. And they don't tell you keep the Sabbath holy. So I remember one day them come, crusade in a prison, Brother Eastham. And my member them come, mama, and I'm telling them, you know, so I'm not going to go back on the mama church again. And they ask me why. So I start asking them, why we don't keep it 10 commandments? They don't believe me. He said, yes, the 10 commandments are supposed to keep. So I said, why only don't keep it? And he said to me, it means a person believes that the 10 commandments will keep, but the church don't teach it out then to keep the Sabbath day holy. So I tell him I read my Bible and I see that in the Bible. So I tell him to read Exodus, I explain to you. And from that day, I just stop going to Sunday church. And I start attend the Sabbath church. Meanwhile, tell me get you baptized in the Sabbath church. Me a sinner. I sin. I do things that wrong, but Jesus' blood wash away my sin. And I'm not really where I should be now. Sometimes certain things happen in your life that you fall, but you have to get up and start over again. 2020, something happened. That's not a church, 2 years and 9 months. And I never like it. But my church sister, my brother they never leave me alone. And said no matter what happened, they don't want to know what happened. And then come and visit me. So when I come out now, I say, I recommit back my life. I recommit back my life to God. And I thank God for everything He do for me.
When I just arrived in prison in 1994, I was doing some remand, but later on in that year I was sentenced. No, 1996 I was sentenced. I did 2 years remand and I was sentenced in 1996 to death. I did some appeals. I was taken off death row, but I was given a sentence called Her Majesty's Pleasure, which means I didn't have a date to go home. Being in prison, not getting any visits and such, and not basically having a date to go home, I was a very violent and angry individual. Mr. East and his prison ministry, they did a lot where ministering to me was concerned bringing Christ into my life. They had a support program where they even brought foods for whoever was in the prison and they went to church. So if there was 20 members, they would bring at least 40 foods because they not only bring food for members, but for some other unfortunates in the prison. So when I started to receive my weekly Wednesday visit, every Saturday they are there keeping church. Every Tuesday, Sister Thompson is there with Bible study. Caused me to want to go among these people. So I started going around them every Sunday, every Saturday, every Tuesday, until I left prison. And when I left prison, the Britain SDA, they provided monthly stipends for me to help to reintegrate me in society. I didn't have a job, and being an ex-convict, you were viewed as unemployable. So the Britain SDA gave me $20,000 every month for about 18 months, and they gave me my regular food packages until I was able to finish college, get a job, and stand on my feet.
Would I tell somebody, say, Crime not pay. Jail not nice. When they take your freedom, because your freedom take away from you. You can't do certain things. You get up 6 o'clock, you lock down 6 o'clock, you go back in your cell. You know, you can't come out. You can't do way their life, you know. So I'm gonna tell them, leave crime.
It is a joy to be back in society. And so I can tell others of my experience of where I was, yet to where I am today.
My father did his best. A lot of people tried to correct me when I was young. And because I ignored them, disregarded their instructions, I ended up in prison on a death sentence, and then later I had to do 24 years before I could come out. So I can speak from experience. I mean, you can learn from my experience. A large part of my life was erased, and I'm just now trying to pick up the pieces. At October, I'm 47, and I still don't reach where I want to be as yet. Yeah? But I have a job, I have a degree, and the Lord has been good to me. He has brought me far, but I have learned to wait on Him, because if I don't wait, I just might end up back in prison. Right? So that's my encouragement to youngsters. Obey instruction of your elders, and it will be proved to be beneficial for you in the later years.
In Jamaica at the end of 2021, the total adult custodial population was 3,565 people, of whom approximately 41% were serving sentences of up to 12 months and the remainder between 12 months to life in prison. The prison ministry directly tackles this and shares Jesus with correctional residents and their families. To restore dignity, self-respect, spiritual regeneration, social stabilization, and moral worth among humankind.
We find that the ministry is one that is so powerfully engaging, one that causes each individual who comes in to seek to get closer to the Word of God, closer to Christ Himself. Because unless we have Christ within us, then the love required to minister in an environment like this will just not show up. And the inmates see through you as you get in. They see the love.
It was great and nice being in prison and know say I have a church that you could attend and could hear the word of God.
The prison ministry has impacted my life in a very positive way. It helped to change the angry individual. And when I came out, I was able to go back to college and stuff. So
let me take the opportunity to thank some churches and members of the prison ministry who have worked tirelessly to make the ministry a success. Thanks must be given to Pastor Barrett for his leadership. Then Pastor McLean, who is now our leader, has consistently been a source of support for us.
The significance of prison ministries can be found in Matthew 25:35-40.
For I was an hungered, and He gave me meat. I was thirsty, and He gave me drink. I was a stranger, and He took me in. Naked, and He clothed me. I was sick, and He visited me. I was in prison, and He came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer Him, saying, Lord, when saw we Thee an hungered, and fed Thee, or thirsty, and gave Thee drink? When saw we Thee a stranger, and took Thee in, or naked, and clothed Thee? Or when saw we Thee sick, or in prison, and came unto Thee? And the King shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
See you next time on Church in Action.